Okay, I'm going to work out all the problems from 10.1 homework, except the ones that I already did in the last video. So in this video, we're skipping 2, 3, and 8. So if you have any questions on those, make sure you go and watch the video with the PowerPoint because I included those 3 at the end of that video. So let's take a look at number 1. So it's asking us for the area of a parallelogram. We know that the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So we need our base, which is 12, and our height, which is 10. So all we need to do for this one to find the area is multiply 12 times 10, which gives us an area of 120. Remember, if it gives us the units, we have to put units in our answer. And when we're dealing with area, it's always going to be units squared. So we need to make sure we put that centimeters squared along with it. So 2 and 3 were in the last video, so I'm going to go to 4. The area of the trapezoid. We know that the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. So the average of the bases times the height. And the height needs to be the perpendicular altitude. So the line that intersects the base perpendicularly. So for this one, it would be best to flip the trapezoid on its side so it looks like this. Well, I didn't know I could do that in the video. So I'm just going to do this one sideways. So we have 1/2 times base 1, which we could say is 15, and base 2, which is 9. So we're adding the bases and multiplying it by 1/2. And then we can multiply it by the height, which we have this perpendicular altitude here, which is 20. So we're just going to add 15 plus 9, which is 24. And we need to multiply that by 1/2 and multiply everything by 20. 24 times 1/2 is 12. So we have 12 times 20. So our area is going to be 240. And here it gives us meters. So our answer is going to have meters squared. Okay, so now to number 5. We need to find the base of the triangle, and it gives us the area. So we know the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So we're just going to put this 58.5 in for our area. So we're just plugging it in. So we have 58.5 is equal to 1/2. It doesn't give us the base. That's what we're trying to find. So it's asking us to find the base. So we can just put a B for base. And it gives us the height. So remember, when we have a triangle, the height has to be the perpendicular line. So we have the height as 9. So we have 58.5 is equal to, we can multiply the 1/2 and the 9 together. So we have 4.5b. And then we're going to divide both sides by 4.5. It'll cancel out on the right, so we just have 58.5 divided by 4.5, which is 13. So our base is going to be equal to 13. If it gives us inches in our question, then we have to put inches in our answer. And since we're just finding what the base is, our base is just going to be 13 inches. Remember, if we were finding the area, it would have to be inches squared, but since it's just the base, it's just inches. Okay, for 7, we need to find the area of the rhombus. So we know the area of a rhombus is 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. It gives us one of the diagonals here, and then it gives us these side lengths. So we need to find the other diagonal. So we're going to draw a line where that diagonal is. So in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect each other perpendicularly. So that would mean this has a height of 7. This half of the first diagonal that was given. And they bisect perpendicularly, meaning that this is going to be a right triangle. So we have a right triangle with a side length of 7 and a hypotenuse of 25. So we can now do the Pythagorean theorem to help us find the other side length, which would be this side. So the Pythagorean theorem would be 7 squared plus, we can call the other side x squared is equal to 25 squared. So 7 squared is 49 plus x squared is equal to 625. And then we can just subtract the 49 from both sides. And x squared is equal to 576. And then we're going to take the square root. So we get x is equal to 24. So this length here is going to be 24 inches. Now since that's only half of the diagonal, we need to multiply it by 2 to find the whole diagonal. So this whole length here is going to be 48 inches. So we have diagonal 1, which is 14, and diagonal 2, which is 48. So we're just going to plug that into our area formula now. So the area is equal to 1/2 diagonal 1, which is 14. So we have diagonal 2, which is 48. So we can multiply the 1/2 times 14, which gives us 7 times 48. So our area is going to be 336. We can't forget, since it was given to us in inches, our answer needs to be inches squared. So this is our area. So next, we did number 8, so now number 9. So it's asking us to find the diagonal 2 of a kite in which the area is 12x squared y cubed centimeters squared, and the diagonal is 3xy centimeters squared. So we know the area of a kite is 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So now we can just plug in what we were given for the area and what we were given for diagonal 1. So we have 12x squared y cubed, which is our area, so we just plug that in for A, is equal to 1/2 diagonal 1, which is 3xy, times diagonal 2, which we can just call D2, and that's what we're trying to find. So our goal here is to get it to be D2 equals. So we can multiply these two first, which gives us 1.5. So we have 12x squared y cubed is equal to 1.5 xy d2. And we're going to divide 1.5 xy to get it to the other side. So divide by 1.5 xy. And we are left with, when dividing 12 by 1.5, we have 8. When we simplify, if we have 2 x's on top and 1 on the bottom, we're left with 1 x on top. And if we have 3 x's on top and 1 on the bottom, we're left with 2 y's on top. So 8xy squared is equal to diagonal 2. And since our answer was given to us, our question was given to us in centimeters, our answer needs to be in centimeters, so we can just rewrite this as diagonal 2 is equal to 8xy squared times centimeters. And it's only centimeters because we're only finding the diagonal here, we're not finding the whole area, because area would have been centimeters squared, but our diagonal is just centimeters. So this would be our final answer. So this is everything for page 1. So number 11 asks us to find the height of the parallelogram in which the area is equal to 7.5 meters squared. So first we need to know the area of a parallelogram, which is base times height. And now we can just plug in the area and we can plug in the base since that's given to us. So the area is 7.5 and the base is 6. And it's asking us to find the height, so we can just leave that as h. And then we can just divide 6 on both sides in order to solve for h. So it's going to cancel out on the right. We're just going to do 7.5 divided by 6, which gives us 1.25 is equal to h. And since it gives us meters, it's going to be 1.25 meters. Now number 12. We have to find the perimeter of the rectangle. So to find the perimeter, we can just add up all the side lengths together. So we can add all 4 sides together. Or we know that it is the perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, which can also be written as 2L plus W. So we can just add the length and width together first and multiply it by 2. So let's do that since this is giving us binomials in our length and width. So we have 2, and then we're going to add x minus 1 plus x plus 2. So if we add the x's together, so I'm just working with what's inside the parentheses now. So we have 2x, and then we're going to add the numbers together. So we have a negative 1 and 2, which is just plus 1. And now we need to distribute the 2 to both of these. So we have perimeter is equal to 4x plus 2. And it gives us inches, so our perimeter is going to be in inches as well. So this is our answer for perimeter. So remember here we have 2 different formulas for perimeter, which is pretty much the same thing, but in the second one we just pulled out the 2. So we can, if we distributed the 2 in this one, we would get the same answer, the same equation. 14. We need to find the area of the triangle. We know that the area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height. So here it gives us the height, which is this perpendicular altitude. So it's 15. So we have 1/2 base times 15. So we just need to find what that base is. So we need to find this length down here. Now it gives us 2 right triangles. So we have this purple one and a blue one. And in order to find the third missing side of these 2 triangles, we can just do the Pythagorean theorem. So we have 15 squared plus x squared is equal to 17 squared. 15 squared is 225 plus x squared is equal to 289. So we just subtract 225 from both sides. So we have x squared is equal to 64. And we just take the square root of both sides. So x is equal to 8. So this length here is going to be 8 inches. And now we need to do Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side of the other triangle. So we have 15 squared plus x squared is equal to 25 squared. 15 squared we said was 225 plus x squared is equal to 25 squared, which is 625. So we subtract 225 from both sides. So we got x squared is equal to 400. Take the square root, x is equal to 20. So this length here is going to be 20. Now in order to find the length of the whole base, we just add the two parts that we found together. So our base is going to be equal to 28. Now we just need to plug that into our formula. So we have the area is equal to 1/2 base, which is 28, times 15. So the area is 14 times 15, which gives us 210. Okay, now let's go to 15. We need to find the height of the trapezoid, and it gives us the area as 280 centimeters squared. So we know the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 the sum of the bases, so base 1 plus base 2, times the height. And it's asking us to find the height. So we just need to plug in the area, base 1 and base 2. So our area is 280. We just keep the 1/2, and we have 20, which is base 1, and 8, which is base 2. It doesn't matter which one's base 1 and base 2, you're going to add them so you get the same thing. And our goal here is to get h all by itself. We want it to be h equals in order to find the height. So we're going to work with what's inside the parentheses first. So we have 28, and then we need to multiply that by 1/2, which gives us 14, and then we just divide both sides by 14. So 280 divided by 14 gives us 20 is equal to h. So this h is going to be 20 centimeters. So since the problem gives us centimeters, our answer needs to have centimeters. Okay, 3 more. Let's look at 23. We need to find the area of each figure round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So here it gives us a parallelogram, and we know the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So our base is 10, so area is equal to 10, and now we have to find the height. So it gives us the altitude here, but it would be better to draw the altitude right there in order to make a triangle so we can find this height here, which is the same thing. These two heights are the same, but when making a triangle, we're able to find what the height is. So here we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The hypotenuse, I'm going to draw a 30, 60, 90 over here. So if we have 60, 30, and 90, opposite of the 30 is x, opposite of the 60 is x square root 3, and opposite of the 90 is 2x. So here, opposite of the 90 is 6. So 6 is going to be equal to 2x. So we divide by 2. So we get x is equal to 3. But this angle here is 60. So we need to find what's opposite of the 60, which gives us the height of this triangle. So we know that opposite of the 60 is x square root 3. So this height is going to be 3 square root 3. So we just need to plug this in to our formula here for the height. So 10 times 3 square root 3. Now when multiplying these two together, all we do is multiply the numbers out front, and that radical stays at the end. So our area is equal to 30 square root 3. And this is our final answer. Actually, we would need the centimeters squared. So 30 square root 3 centimeters squared. Since we're finding the area, our answer has to have that centimeters squared. Okay, 24. We need to find the area of a triangle. We know the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So it gives us the hypotenuse, which is neither our base nor our height. Remember, our height has to be perpendicular, so this 5 is our height, And then this base here is our base. So we need to find the length of this. So since this is a right triangle, we're able to do Pythagorean theorem here to find the base. So let's do it on the side. We have 5 squared plus x squared, so we're going to call this length x, is equal to 13 squared. 5 squared is 25 plus x squared is equal to 169 minus 25. X squared is equal to 144. We take the square root and we get x is equal to 12. So now this x is our base, we said, so we're just going to plug everything into our formula. So we have our area is equal to 1/2 base, which is 12, and height, which is 5. So our area is 6, so I'm just multiplying these two first. So 6 times 5, which gives us an area of 30. And it gives us meters in our problem, so our area has to be meters squared. Okay, last problem, yay. So again, it gives us a triangle. In our triangle, the area is 1/2 base times height. So our base is this whole length, and this is going to be our height. So we need to find our base and our height. The reason why we would not be able to use this 30 as our base is because our height has to be perpendicular to the base. So if this was given to us as our height, then yeah, we could use this 30 as our base, or if this was given to us as our height, then this 25 could be our base. But our height has to be perpendicular to the base, so this length here has to be our base. So we need to find the other half of this base and our height. So since we have a right triangle here, we can do the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of our height. So we have 7 squared plus x squared is equal to 25 squared. 7 squared is 49 plus x squared is equal to 625. We subtract 49 from both sides, and we get x squared is equal to 576. We take the square root, and x is equal to 24. So our height of our triangle is 24 inches. So now that we have two sides of this triangle to the left, we have the hypotenuse and one of the legs, we can find this part here. So again, we have to do Pythagorean theorem. So we have 24 squared plus x squared, so now we're calling this part x, is equal to 30 squared. 24 squared is 576 plus x squared is equal to 30 squared, which is 900. We subtract 576 from both sides. We get 324. So x squared is equal to 324. We need to take the square root of both sides. So x is equal to 18. So this length here is going to be 18 inches. Now we have our height, which is 24. And in order to find our base, we just need to add 18 plus 7, because our base is this whole length, so it's going to be the part that's 18 and the part that's 7, which is 25. So we have 1/2 times 25 times 24. I'm going to multiply the 1/2 and the 24 first. So I get 12 times 25, and we get the area is equal to 300. And since our problem gives us inches, our area has to be inches squared. Okay, so this was all the questions for the homework. If you guys have any other questions, just make sure you send me a message on Canvas or send me an email. But I'm here to help whenever you need it.